The Parsons Perspective. Hosted by Legends of Saltwater Fishing, Captain Lee Parsons. Sponsored by Icon Coolers, the cool alternative.
It's the biggest mistake you see light tackle fishermen making.
Holding too hard on the trolling motor in shallow water. That's the number one biggest mistake. Pushing too hard. Yeah, you'll push fish and you'll bunt fish, but sometimes that will take the fish and make them scoot and they won't come back, or they get so tense in that, as we say, that they won't eat. So the trolling motor is the biggest thing. Everybody gets on that trolling motor and goes. And the only time I really go hard on the trolling motor is when I'm looking for fish in the wintertime. When the water's clear and I can see good and I'm trying to find places that they hold, put it on high. I'm not fishing, I'm looking. And remember where you saw fish, and then come back to it later and try and fish it. When I say later, I'm talking about a day or two later. And sneak into those spots that you found where the fish were and see if they're there. Most of the time, if they're there for a reason, and they'll come back. It's kind of like a speckled trout. He's there or she's there for a reason. And a speckled trout, you can run off the bank and they'll turn around and go right back to the bank where you just ran them off, because they're there for a reason. They want to be there because of bait or food source. So they'll go back there over and over and over again. A drum, you run him off, and he's going to probably stay off for a day or two before he comes back. He'll go find somewhere else, and then he'll come back to it. Drum are like a lone wolf in that respect. You know, they'll find a place they like, but they may not come back if you run them off for a couple of days. But they'll come back to it because they remember it. And typically when drum get in an area that they like and want to be in, they'll be in a 200-yard stretch one way or the other from where you found them. So look in that 200-yard stretch, but do it slow. Back off the bank and look for them, or back off the bank and cast to them. There are a lot of times when we will get what we call two casts off the bank, which means the first cast you do, it'll only go as far as the boat is when you cast to the bank. I hope that makes sense to people. But you're two casts off, and you'll work that area, and a lot of times those drum are two casts off the bank. They're not right on the edge. But if you go through an area and you don't find them in that two cast off range, then move into one cast off and work right on the edge of the bank. Drum will use a net or a bank like a fence line, and they'll work up and down that fence line, back and forth, back and forth. One of the things that I've found lately is that they're putting a lot of oyster farms right on the banks. And a lot of them are right where the fish used to be. And when I say used to be, it's because they used to be there. Now the oyster farms are so noisy because they have to turn the cages every day for the oysters not to stick to the cage and stay as select singles when they're growing. And it makes so much noise that the drum don't like it. It's too noisy for them. It even chases the bait fish off, which is a whole nother thing that I get on the high horse about. But anyway, I just stay away from the oyster farms now because it's just been worthless to try and find fish anywhere around them. I've lost a lot of good areas because of it. And we're getting ready to lose a whole lot more areas, but that's a whole nother conversation.